Picture this. It's 1972, and rock music is standing at a crossroads. The wild experimentation of the 60s has settled into something more focused, more powerful. The Beatles have disbanded, Hendrix is gone, and a new generation of artists is stepping up to define what rock can become. This was the year when rock truly found its voice, and what a voice it was. Today, we're diving into 12 songs that didn't just capture the moment. They created it, shaped the future, and continue to influence musicians 5 decades later. Number 12, Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple. Deep Purple unleashed one of rock's most iconic riffs with Smoke on the Water. The story behind it is just as legendary. While in Montreux, Switzerland, planning to record, the band witnessed a fire at the Montreux Casino during a Frank Zappa concert. A fan had fired a flare gun into the ceiling, sending smoke drifting over Lake Geneva. Ritchie Blackmore's 4-note riff became a rite of passage for guitarists worldwide. Walk into any guitar shop, and you'll likely hear it. But the song was more than a riff. It captured Deep Purple at their most powerful. Ian Gillan's vocals soared over a tight rhythm section, proving a simple idea could become something epic. Smoke on the Water helped define heavy metal. Storytelling fused with crushing riffs and emotional weight. It showed rock could be both raw and refined, influencing bands from AC/DC to Metallica. To this day, that riff still tops greatest of all time lists. For good reason. Number 11, Starman by David Bowie. When Starman hit the airwaves, it was more than a song. It was David Bowie's grand entrance as Ziggy Stardust, bringing theatrical rock to the mainstream. Its gentle acoustic intro gave way to something cosmic and otherworldly, introducing listeners to a new kind of rock hero. Bowie saw rock as theater, and Starman told the story of a cosmic messenger bringing hope through music, a metaphor for art's transformative power. Mick Ronson's guitar work perfectly complemented Bowie's vocals, balancing precision with emotional restraint. Their creative partnership became one of rock's finest. Bowie's Top of the Pops performance, with his arm draped around Ronson, broke cultural boundaries. He challenged norms of gender, sexuality, and identity, showing that rock could be both performance and provocation. Starman didn't just entertain, it changed the rules. Number 10, School's Out by Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper gave Teenage Rebellion a theatrical edge with School's Out. More than just a song about angst, it was a smart, subversive shot at authority, wrapped in catchy hooks that made it impossible to ignore. Cooper knew shock rock wasn't just about outrage, it was about turning real tension into unforgettable entertainment. Released during a peak in the generation gap, the song became an anthem for youth rebellion, delivered with fun instead of preachiness. Its build from eerie calm to explosive chorus set the stage for decades of arena rock. Cooper's live shows, part concert, part horror, part vaudeville, proved rock could be theater without losing its bite. His influence echoes in artists from Kiss to Marilyn Manson. School's Out showed that rebellion could sell, and that rock could be bold, theatrical, and wildly successful all at once. We can't even think of a word that rhymes! Number 9, Elected by Alice Cooper. Cooper's Elected arrived during a presidential election year when young people were becoming increasingly politically aware and cynical about the democratic process. The song was Cooper's darkly humorous take on American politics, wrapped in hard rock packaging that made the medicine go down easy. Cooper understood that the best protest songs weren't earnest folk ballads. They were rock anthems that made you want to dance while they made you think.
Kids want a savior, don't
The song's theatrical elements and social commentary helped establish a template for how rock could engage with politics without becoming preachy. Cooper wasn't telling people how to vote. He was holding up a funhouse mirror to the entire political process, showing its absurdities and contradictions. This approach influenced the development of punk rock, where political commentary would be delivered with humor, irony, and a healthy dose of skepticism. Elected also demonstrated how rock could appropriate the symbols and language of the establishment and turn them against themselves. Cooper's campaign-style presentation of the song, complete with buttons and banners, showed how rock performers could become cultural commentators, using the tools of mass media to critique mass media itself. Number 8. Long Train. Runnin' by the Doobie Brothers. The Doobie Brothers crafted something special with Long Train Runnin', a song built around a hypnotic guitar riff that seemed to chug along like the train it described. Tom Johnston's guitar work created a rhythm that was both driving and relaxed, capturing the dual nature of train travel. The steady progress forward, combined with the meditative quality of the journey itself. This track helped bridge the gap between blues-based rock and the emerging southern rock sound that was beginning to take hold across America. The Doobie Brothers were California boys, but they understood the power of the blues and weren't afraid to let their music breathe and develop organically. The interplay between guitars, the driving rhythm section, and the song's improvisational feel influenced countless jam bands and showed how rock could be both structured and spontaneous. Long Train Runnin' proved that rock music didn't always have to be about rebellion or angst. Sometimes it could just be about the joy of playing music with other people. The song's extended jams and collaborative spirit pointed toward a future where rock would embrace improvisation and musical exploration. Bands like the Allman Brothers, Lynyrd Skynyrd, and later, the Grateful Dead, would take these ideas and run with them. The song also demonstrated the power of the riff as an organizing principle. While many rock songs were built around chord progressions or melodies, Long Train Runnin' showed how a single, well-crafted guitar figure could become the foundation for an entire musical journey. Number 7. Leila, by Derek and the Dominoes. Eric Clapton was in emotional turmoil, desperately in love with Pattie Boyd, the wife of his best friend George Harrison, when he channeled that pain into Leila. The song became one of rock's great expressions of unrequited love, but it was also a masterpiece of musical collaboration. Working with Duane Allman, whose slide guitar work became the stuff of legend, Clapton created something that transcended its personal origins to become universal art. The song's structure was revolutionary for its time. The opening section, with its explosive riff and emotional vocals, could have been a complete song in itself. But then came the piano coda, a completely different piece of music that somehow felt like the perfect resolution to the emotional storm that preceded it. This two-part structure influenced countless rock ballads and showed how songs could be architectural, building emotional landscapes that took listeners on complete journeys. Duane Allman's contribution cannot be overstated. His slide guitar work provided the perfect counterpoint to Clapton's emotional vocals, creating a musical conversation about love, loss, and longing. The interplay between the two guitarists demonstrated how great rock music could be about collaboration rather than individual showmanship. Leila also proved that rock could handle complex emotions without losing its power. While much of rock was about youthful rebellion or simple pleasures, Clapton showed that the genre could grapple with the complications of adult relationships and the pain that comes with deep emotional investment. Number 6. Bang a Gong, Get It On, by T-Rex Mark Bolan. And T-Rex brought glam rock to its glittering, primal peak with Bang A Gong. The song was built around one of the most elemental rhythms in rock history. But Bolan's elfin charisma and poetic sensibilities transformed something primitive into something sophisticated. This was rock music that was both cerebral and visceral, appealing to the body and the mind simultaneously. Bolan's approach to rock was revolutionary because he refused to take it too seriously while still taking it completely seriously. He understood that rock could be mythic and playful at the same time, that you could create something profound without being pretentious. His lyrics were streams of consciousness poetry that didn't always make literal sense, but created powerful emotional impressions. The song's influence on punk and new wave was enormous. Bands from the Ramones to the White Stripes drew inspiration from its stripped-down power, and Bolan's understanding that sometimes less really is more. Bang A Gong proved that you didn't need elaborate arrangements or complex song structures to create something unforgettable. You just needed a great groove and the confidence to ride it. T-Rex also showed how rock could embrace femininity without losing its masculine power. Bolan's androgynous appearance and sensual stage presence challenged traditional rock stereotypes, paving the way for artists like David Bowie, Prince, and countless others who would blur gender lines in the service of their art. Number 5. Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath. The opening tritone of Black Sabbath, The Devil's Interval, announced the birth of heavy metal with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer. Tony Iommi's menacing riff, born from a factory accident that cost him 2 fingertips and forced him to develop a completely new guitar technique, created something genuinely frightening and powerful. This wasn't just heavy rock, it was a new genre entirely, one that would spawn countless subgenres and influence generations of musicians. Ozzy Osbourne's vocals on the track were unlike anything that had come before in rock music. Where most rock singers projected confidence and rebellion, Ozzy sounded genuinely terrified, as if he were witnessing something supernatural and malevolent. His delivery perfectly matched the song's lyrics, which were inspired by a Boris Karloff horror film and dealt with supernatural dread and spiritual darkness. The song's power came not just from its heaviness, but from its restraint. Sabbath understood that true menace comes from what you don't show as much as what you do. The spaces between the notes were as important as the notes themselves, creating an atmosphere of impending doom that had never been captured in rock music before. Black Sabbath established the template for metal's exploration of darkness, both musical and thematic. The song showed that rock could be genuinely frightening without being cartoonish, that it could explore the darker aspects of human experience while still being musically compelling. Its influence on bands like Metallica, Slayer, and countless others is immeasurable. Number 4. American Pie by Don McLean.
So bye, Miss American Pie.
Don McLean spent months crafting American Pie, his 8.5-minute meditation on the day the music died and the cultural upheaval that followed. The song was ambitious in ways that rock had rarely attempted before. Part history lesson, part personal reflection, part cultural commentary. McLean created something that worked as both popular entertainment and serious art, proving that rock could tackle complex subjects without losing its emotional impact.
Now do you believe in rock and roll?
The song's structure was revolutionary. At a time when radio favored 3-minute songs, American Pie demanded to be heard in its entirety. Its success proved that both radio programmers and audiences were ready for complex, lengthy compositions that rewarded careful listening. The influence on progressive rock and concept albums was profound, showing that rock could be both popular and ambitious.
I started singing Bye Bye Miss America.
McLean's storytelling approach influenced countless singer-songwriters who realized that rock could be narrative as well as emotional. The song showed how personal experience could be woven together with cultural history to create something that spoke to universal themes while remaining grounded in specific details. American Pie also demonstrated how rock could serve as cultural memory, preserving and interpreting important moments in American history. McLean wasn't just mourning Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper. He was documenting the end of innocence and the beginning of a more complex, troubled era in American culture.
The day the music died.
Number 3. Heart of Gold by Neil Young.
I wanna give. I've been a
Neil Young's Heart of Gold represented a more introspective side of rock, one that combined folk sensibilities with rock instrumentation to create something entirely new. The song's vulnerability and earnestness stood in contrast to rock's increasing bombast, showing that power could come from intimacy as well as volume. Young proved that you didn't need to shout to be heard, that whispered confessions could be just as powerful as screamed declarations.
I've been a miner for a heart of gold.
The song featured James Taylor and Linda Ronstadt on backing vocals, creating a template for the collaborative spirit that would define much of 70s rock. These weren't just guest appearances, they were integral parts of the song's emotional landscape, showing how different voices could blend together to create something larger than the sum of its parts.
I've been to Hollywood, I've been to...
Young's harmonica work throughout the song was particularly influential, showing how traditional folk instruments could be integrated into rock arrangements without losing their essential character. The harmonica became Young's signature sound, influencing countless musicians who would use it to add emotional depth to their own songs. Heart of Gold also established the template for the singer-songwriter movement that would dominate the 70s. Young showed that rock could be personal and political, intimate and universal, simple and profound. The song influenced everyone from Jackson Browne to Bruce Springsteen, proving that authenticity and vulnerability could be just as powerful as any guitar solo.
Keep me searching for a heart of gold.
Number 2. Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin. When Led Zeppelin unleashed rock and roll, they created an instant classic that captured the pure joy and energy that had made rock music irresistible in the first place. The song was born from a spontaneous jam session, with John Bonham laying down a shuffle beat that immediately inspired the rest of the band to follow. This spontaneous creation showed how great rock music often emerges from the magical chemistry between musicians who understand each other instinctively. Bonham's drumming on the track was thunderous and precise, providing the foundation for one of rock's most driving rhythms. His approach influenced generations of rock drummers who learned that power and groove were more important than complexity. Jimmy Page's guitar work was equally impressive, combining technical precision with raw emotion in a way that few guitarists could match. Robert Plant's vocals soared over the music with a passion and energy that seemed to capture the essence of rock and roll itself. His delivery was both nostalgic and forward-looking, honoring rock's roots while pushing the music into new territory. The song became an anthem for rock itself, proving that sometimes the best way forward is to perfect what came before, rather than trying to reinvent everything. Rock and Roll also demonstrated Led Zeppelin's understanding of dynamics. The song built and released tension in ways that kept listeners engaged from beginning to end, showing how great rock music could be both immediate and sophisticated. The influence on arena rock and hard rock was enormous, establishing a template that bands are still following today.
A big leg woman ain't got no soul.
Number 1. Roadhouse Blues by The Doors. The Doors' Roadhouse Blues showcased Jim Morrison and the band at their blues rock peak, creating something that bridged the gap between traditional blues and modern rock. Morrison's vocals were raw and commanding, channeling the spirit of blues legends while maintaining his own unique poetic sensibilities. The song proved that rock could honor its roots while still pushing forward into new territory.
Go to the roadhouse, gonna have a Rio.
The band's performance was tight and focused, with Robbie Krieger's guitar work providing the perfect counterpoint to Ray Manzarek's keyboards and John Densmore's precise drumming. This was the Doors at their most collaborative, showing how four distinct musical personalities could blend together to create something greater than the sum of its parts.
All night long.
Roadhouse Blues captured something essential about American music culture: the idea of the road as both literal and metaphorical journey. Morrison's lyrics painted pictures of American nightlife and highway culture that resonated with listeners who understood that rock music was about freedom and movement as much as it was about sound. The song's live energy, captured perfectly in the studio, influenced the development of hard rock and showed how powerful a rock band could be when they locked into a groove and refused to let go. The Doors proved that rock could be both intellectual and visceral, cerebral and physical. These 12 songs from 1972 didn't just entertain, they transformed rock. Drawing from blues, folk, and early rock, they pushed the genre into new territory. Heavy and delicate, personal and political, grounded and cosmic. 1972 marked rock's coming of age. The wild experimentation of the 60s gave way to sharper focus and greater artistry. These songs proved rock could be theater, rebellion, and pure expression all at once. 50 years on, their influence still echoes. From Bowie's glam to Sabbath's menace, Zeppelin's power to Neil Young's intimacy, 1972 showed that rock could hold multitudes, and did. If you enjoyed this journey through 1972's greatest rock songs, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into the moments when music changed everything. What's your favorite song from 1972? Did we miss any tracks that you think deserve to be on this list? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time as we continue exploring the songs, artists, and albums that shaped the soundtrack of our lives.